morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folare, and with me this Monday morning is Mr. Curtis Adigba, lawyer and public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on. And another lawyer, Ahmed Dada Abbas, also a political affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
You know, of course, the tragic, unfortunate news of the death of the daughter of Afenifere leader, Fashion has brought to the fore again the whole question of security in the land. She was killed as a result of an attack in her car. As everybody knows by now, Afenifere, as the spokesman, as we'll hear later on, has even referred to it as a straightforward assassination. But not all are looking at it like that. There are matters of general insecurity. There are even those who are saying, look, it might have been a horrible, catastrophic, coincidence. But for now, no doubt, authorities continue their investigation. Let's talk about this as this morning we are seeing in the papers that Vice President has said that there probably will be soldiers patrolling the streets now, which is another, this is just as an aftermath of this tragic event. Before we continue, maybe we should look at some of the footage that will put it in context. A lot of people have been visiting the house of the APC, I beg your pardon, the Afenifere leader, including Vice President. Let's watch that.
Over the death of his daughter, Olufunke Olakunrin. One of the callers at his residence in Akure, Ondo State, is Nigeria's #2 citizen, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Accompanied by Governor Rotimi Akeredolu and some top aides, Osinbajo went straight to meet the Afenifere leader. The Vice President described Olufunke's death as painful, saying government will explore all options, including deploying soldiers on the highways towards addressing the growing security challenges in the country.
This is a massive tragedy, as you can imagine, and we've seen it replicated here and there. One of the most important things is intelligence gathering, and that's why we have the community policing system, where policemen will be trained in their own local governments and they will remain there. This is as close as we can get, to the community policing structures that we expect to have.
Few hours after Osinbajo departed, the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, was the next visitor. Tinubu came in company of former governor of Osun State, Bisi Akande, and Governor Akeredolu. The APC national leader described the killing as unfortunate. While addressing reporters, Tinubu cautioned Nigerians not to allow the issue to divide the nation.
The concern and the challenge right now must be faced squarely throughout Nigeria. The incident that affected one member of our family, Mrs. Olakunrin, is seriously sad and unacceptable.
The vehicle that was conveying Olufunke to Lagos was shown to journalists. The family wants government to probe her death and bring the perpetrators to book. Ayodeji Morade, your TVC News, Akure.
Use this incident to divide ourselves. We must use it as a cure to the security problem. Additional police, additional patrol, and additional security reinforcement along our road and in various black spots. It is necessary. We have discussed that one. among the various authorities. And the governor is eminently aware and being proactive about this.
Okay. Also, Afeni Ferry's spokesman had his own take on the unfortunate incident.
The Nigerian government must ensure that we unravel what has happened. This is, as far as I can, this is a pure murder. She was targeted for assassination, and no other explanation can be given to this, because we have seen the car now. We have seen that all the bullets are pumped from this side of the car. The driver said that when the man from the bush turned the car, she said, he started firing at the tires, and they shot until they ensured that she was dead, and nothing was taken from this car.
In the Constitution Amendment going to the National Assembly, the National Assembly is one of the problems we are solving in this country. How do you want me to get a new constitution under the provision of the Constitution we say we don't make?
Okay, then, the last two speakers being Inka Odumakin, spokesperson for Afeni Ferry, and Pa Adebanjo, of national leader of Afeni Ferry. Gentlemen, you heard all, essentially, well, how does one take this kind of an event? It's an unfortunate accident, is the one way to look at it. But then, of course, it wasn't as if it was a traffic accident. This was an attack. So I guess that sort of vitiates the whole idea of calling it an accident. What, was it a random event? Was it a horrible coincidence? Or was the car targeted? That's why I imagine people like APC national leader Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu was saying that we need to be cautious and not let this event divide us further. No doubt being aware that spins were being put on it, even people going as far at this early stage to claim to actually know who the assassins, as they want to put it, might be. I guess this is a delicate one. Maybe Curtis, would you like to start off? How do you see this when the horrible news broke?
Well, first of all, let me extend my heartfelt condolences to the family of Pa Fasharonti. It hurts badly, losing a child at his age. I recall in 1993, when my late elder brother died, it devastated my parents. And my mom said something to us: I would rather die than see any of you again lie before me to be buried. So it's a tragic, tragic incident. But it is not alone. This has not happened to Pa Fasharonti alone. It happens on a daily basis to other Nigerians who do not have his influence, his name recognition, who are dying from bad roads, avoidable accident spots, who are being killed by marauders, bandits, and we don't even talk about them because they don't have parents that are influential. And this is the reason why so many Nigerians think that the government is actually not about them. It's only about influential, wealthy, powerful people. It's a big problem for us as a country. But I can tell you something. There is a promise in the problem. The promise in the problem in the sense that it has helped to shine the light on what the average Nigerian keep crying about every day, and it's unheard because it doesn't have that big reputation or image. It's tragic, terrible situation. It left on all Nigerians a massive scar. It's so sad today that if you have to travel from one point to the other in Nigeria, you have to pray and fast that you get there safely. And so, to that extent, I want to say that our hearts and our prayers are with the Fasharontis.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Ahmed?
Well, it's tragic, like my brother here rightly said, and we commiserate with Papa and the entire family, and pray for God to give him the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. But what has happened to him is nothing but a reflection of what the Nigerian state and people, we're actually under assault, whether economic assault, political assault, social assault. There's so much upheavals here and there. And like he rightly said, it's because of the prominence of the family involved. That's why we are. Thousands of Nigerians are slaughtered every day by day, whether in Benue State, whether in Katsina, whether in Nasarawa, and all the rest of it. I was here some time ago, and I told you, I said, I've come to realize something. And that is, unfortunately, it's Papa today. As unfortunate as it is, we must draw attention to the fact that everybody is crying. The vice president visited.
Yes.
Were these problems avoidable? These tragedies, were they avoidable in the first instance? Yes. The injury we are inflicting on ourselves as Nigerians are avoidable. The vice president just said, oh, community policing may be the solution very soon. How many years have enlightened people been calling? You do, when you constantly live in denial of a problem that you have. They're talking about sending in more soldiers to patrol the highways. How many highways can you put men and women to police? Even if you have 1 million police officers and soldiers, you put them on the road to be doing what? Search and stop and search and all the rest of them. That's not a creative solution to problems. The problem remains that you cannot secure the entire borders of this nation with a unitary security apparatus.
Yeah.
It is not possible. And people have been clamoring for decades that, look, we're running a distorted federation. The governor of Ondo State doesn't have control over the security of his state. He needs to take permission from the commissioner of police, who will take permission from the IG, and the IG will need to take permission from the president. Anything happens in Umuahia here, it is the president. The headsman, it is the president. If it happens in Ore, it is the president. If it happens in Port Harcourt, it is the president. The president should save himself from this embarrassing situation by going to the National Assembly, pass a law, relinquish control of security in every state to the state governors and the local government chairmen. Look, if you bring a Hausa man to come and man the road in Ore, I'm telling you, he wants to go back to his family alive. But if the roads and the environment and the community are policed by people who are within that community, the security of their community will be more paramount to them than any other thing. They will take ownership. Everybody will want the world to know our community is the most peaceful, is the most business friendly. There will be healthy competition. We must tell our leaders there are no problems that Nigeria is facing that cannot be solved by Nigerians. The political will to look at each other in the eyes and say, we have a problem. Can we sit down and solve this problem? That's the only way. Living in self-denial and adopting a cosmetic approach to problem. If you are just, you want to put in more patrol team and all the rest of it, it's just like cutting the leaves of a tree. The taproot is there. It will generate more this thing. Let's go down, restructure Nigeria, and let states, local government become responsible for the welfare and the security of their people.
You know, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something to what he said. I think the issue with authority and the hierarchy for security deployment is not as bad as we say it sometimes. I don't know of any governor in this country who wanted to deploy security men against criminals in the state. And the Inspector General of Police or the president said, you cannot do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes it's when politics gets in the way. You want to go after a political opponent and all that, and then you come up with all kinds of stories. That could be denied. Now, having said that, we live in a country where governors draw huge sums of money as security votes. What do they do with their security votes? And every infraction, criminal infraction, that takes place within the boundaries of their state, it is the federal government. What are they doing with the money? You know, so I agree that we cannot micromanage national security from just one point. That it is proper and necessary for the constituent units to get involved in security management. And of course, they understand that themselves. About 2 weeks ago, the governors of the Southwest met in Ibadan and talked about how they will secure their part of the country. Other governors are also meeting. Now, what we are not seeing is the impact of those meetings on the real situation on ground. And so it's important, you know, like he said, if you deploy soldiers now, I can tell you what will happen in the next few weeks. Those soldiers are going to mount roadblocks and they're going to start extorting money from the same suffering Nigerians, who will then come back and say, they are extorting us, they are not providing security for us. So I don't understand exactly what we need in this country.
I guess we need, as you have indicated, we need a creative approach.
We do.
We need a fresh solution, because we used to have all those roadblocks.
Yeah.
And the police, in their wisdom, seeing that it was being abused or whatever, you know, cancelled it. Now it's coming back because a very prominent tragedy happened to a very prominent member of our society.
You know, let me tell you something. I want to be very, very careful here about what I say, because I cannot be disagreeing with certain people and towing the same path. We have agreed that what happened is tragic. But what is more tragic than that is the seeming attempt to politicize, dance on the grave of a woman who has not been buried for political benefit. You know? Now, without knowing the facts of what happened, somebody jumped to conclusion and said she was killed by herdsmen. A former president of Nigeria tweeted and said, "My condolences to the family of such a person who was killed by herdsmen." And then the same person is appearing on TV and saying, this has to be unraveled. If you already know who killed her, then what are you unraveling?
One moment. Lawrence is in Magoro. Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
I greet your two lawyers on the program.
Okay.
Yeah, my contribution to this issue. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, my contribution to this issue is that these criminals are challenging the power of the state. Right from the one when Buhari and Osibajo was showing, I post something on Facebook. The state must develop capacity to enforce all its laws. There is no reward for criminal. We have to look at the judiciary process. If a kidnapper was arrested, did they able to take him through the process of judiciary and ensure it was rewarded accordingly? The answer is no. Secondly, those governors of Ekiti, Ondo, Oyo, what are the steps they have taken within the constitution of Nigeria? They have power to empower their own vigilante to deal with this issue tentatively before either state police or community police. This one has happened. In home state of Mr. President yesterday, 10 people were brutally killed. It means the problem is not about calling the weather president. We have to look at this issue holistically, arrest, investigate, prosecute, and ensure they send them to prison.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we continue repeating the same thing day in, day out. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much, Lawrence, for calling in. It's so unfortunate, as everybody has been emphasizing. Tragic, in fact, as Ashwaji was saying, that it is seriously bad. But unfortunately, we've gone through phases of this kind of a thing, and then later on, most unfortunately, the chatter will die down, and then we continue with our lives waiting for the next incident to happen. Of course, maybe this will actually spark some sort of creative thinking and approach to the matter. But you've emphasized that look at the expanse of land. You said if anybody is traveling by road, and it was not an exaggeration, one needs to be on his knees to pray,
to fast,
fast and pray. That's how serious it is that you will arrive. Now, whether the deceased in this tragic story was targeted or whether it was just a horrible coincidence, nobody knows yet. But the point that was made by Tinubu there, that we just have to be quite careful how we go about this and to make sure that this does not divide us further. It's an important point, right?
Absolutely. I think I want to really align myself with my brother's submission when he was saying, you see, when you listen to some of the rhetorics that are being churned out there are some people you know where they belong politically. And for political reasons, there are some of them you know where they stand politically. You know the political party they belong to.
And it will be a tragedy if this were
so
to be politicized.
So there are some of them that in their pronouncements, you need no prophet to interpret that he's talking purely from a political point of view.
And it's not a sincere comment.
Yes, it's not a sincere comment at all. Look.
Let me come back to you, please, because I have Paul calling in from the UK. Good morning, Paul.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, I want to contribute to the argument because I've been following the women, the group of women that just left few minutes ago before your program, and they were saying they are accusing the herdsmen. Where are the cattle? Where are the this and that? Yeah. It's not no foolish herdsmen way. If perhaps it is a herdsman attack, they will not come and show you their cattle in order to prove that they are herdsmen. So the question of it is not herdsmen or it is herdsmen is not what we should be following now, because a lot of politics have entered into it. What we'll be doing now is proper investigation to actually find out what has happened, because the herdsmen have committed so much atrocity in this country that if you tell anything that happens, you say they are the people that did it, nobody will say no, because they have been our friends. I grew up in my part of the country where we play with them, follow them around with their cattle and everything, no problem. But now nobody can go to farm, and you're talking of food prices, food everywhere. Where is the food? When people cannot go to the farm again as we land, people are afraid to go to the farm. So if they say harassment, no harassment can carry his
Paul.
No harassment can carry his cattle and the
Paul,
killing.
thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very, very much for calling in, Paul. For a moment you lost, I didn't quite understand you, but you see, this is a news program. You know, this is a news program, so you won't hear it said here at this stage that we know who or whatever. And if we carry speculation, we even talk about speculation, we will underline it as such. As I said, I re-emphasize, this is a news program. So, but I think I understood what you were saying. It's something that went out before this program came on. We're on that very point now that we don't know what has happened. It will be investigated. We will be reported to, and we shall bring it over to you.
Yes, like I was
And by the
saying,
way, I didn't hear the program that you're talking about, but thank you very much, Paul, for bringing it up.
So like I was saying, we have to be politically discerning, because there are some people who are aligned, and once it's APC that is in power, there is nothing APC will do that will all go well for them. It is, we must bring down APC. And there are also some that are so radically aligned to APC that if PDP is in power, there is nothing PDP will do. It is Operation Pull PDP down. You were a student of history in Nigeria where a national security advisor told the entire world, that the Boko Haram issue had a political coloration. I mean, we're all students of history. For a national security advisor of a nation to come out and say, look, some of these things that is happening has political undertone.
Yeah.
It's a serious matter. So the political class, we must be able to, look, whether you call it Fulani, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, there are good people there, there are bad people there. The Bado phenomenon in Korodu was not a Hausa Fulani issue.
That's right.
Where people carry stone, enter families, people sleeping, use stone to smash their head and use handkerchief.
So it's criminality.
It's criminality. So
it's a near breakdown of law and order. But I've got to go on a break now. Okay. I'm afraid I've got to go on a break. Yeah. But forgive me, we'll be right back and we'll continue with this. And indeed, we'll continue taking your calls as well. Okay, welcome back. Curtis Adigba and Ahmed Dada Abbas in the house, and we're talking about the unfortunate killing, attack and killing of the daughter of Parfashion Rachi. And we're getting to somebody called in and was saying, but it has already been decided, or people think that they know. We don't know yet, and that's the only stance that we can take. We don't know yet. It's so tempting, but we are being cautioned to be very, very discreet, in how we go about what we report. And you were making the point when we were off air that, look, criminal events happen, tragic criminal events happen all over the country and do not have ethnic colorations to it.
Students were kidnapped in Lagos. It turned out to be Ijaws, some Ijaw boys who were operating in the Sherry North, in Ikorodu, and so many places. Some of the students were rescued in Ondo State. The way they say the Fulanis were behind it, or herdsmen. Chief Olufalaye went to his farm. He was kidnapped. The boys were arrested. They turned out to be Fulanis. They were tried and jailed in Ondo State. Did the president or anybody in the security architecture of the country say you cannot try them because they are Fulani? You see, this is the problem. The problem is that some people are looking for things like this to spin politically and create problem. What leads to implosion is just a tiny light. We're already on the path to Rwanda, for those who don't know. And I say this consciously.
We can't be too careful.
Look, Rwanda, the problem in Rwanda started when some people believed that they were better off than the others, and those who should be speaking in favor of unity, okay, were preaching hate, including pastors, prominent pastors. And when the plane was down, the plane came down, killed the president. They said it was the Tutsi because they were the one that were the target. And so the spark, and we had the genocide. Look, I come from Benue State, part of the Middle Belt. We are warriors. We are not afraid of fighting war if we need to fight war. But we need to know who we are fighting. My people died, lost limbs, made the ultimate sacrifice to preserve the unity of this country. When people who have never tasted war, who cannot even fight, who have got visas in their pockets and passports and have secured routes to run away from this country, want to cause an implosion, we need to be very careful. Yinka Odumaki particularly should be very careful on his pronouncement. He cannot plunge this country into a major crisis. He's talking about the Yorubas, the need for the Yorubas to take up their arms and fight. Who are the Yorubas going to fight? He doesn't even know who has committed the crime.
Okay. Abiodun in the UK, good morning. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Ankuri. I'm very glad to speak to you for the first time. It's the first time calling you.
Oh, thank you for getting in.
I was watching your program this morning, and I saw the gentleman in the orange bow tie. I don't know his name.
That is Mr. Ahmed Dada Abbas.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Abbas. I really love what you just said. Right. What we need in Nigeria is true federation, okay? Like he said, there's going to be healthy competition in all sectors, not only security, right? In all sectors, economy, everything, right? People are going to compete with each other, right? But there is one problem with Nigeria. I've been away for 10 years. I'm coming back this year. And the only problem with Nigeria that I've seen is that there is no value for human life, right? Once we start having value for human life and we take care of ourselves as ourselves, and we're not tribalistic, we're not putting religion, we just love ourselves for ourselves, then we will move forward. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in, Abiodun. Yes, you.
So, still aligning with
this whole matter about being careful,
being
how
careful.
we talk about it, because this is, interestingly, that was the major point that Bola Ahmed Tinubu made when he got there.
Look, my heart bleeds when you hear the killing coming out of Zamfara some few months back.
And it has stopped for now.
Because
the
a governor came
Yeah.
and was very proactive. My
Losing
heart
troops.
bleeds
Yes.
when you hear the number. This is an Islamic state. People by Fulanis. Katsina is burning. The president's hometown.
Fulanis.
Fulanis.
Majorly.
Hausa Fulanis. Is it the Yorubas that are killing in Katsina or in Zamfara? What we are saying is that there must be a distinction between those who want to be responsible, law-abiding citizens and those who insist that they want to toe the path of criminality. So as painful as the experience is, the pressure should be on the government to use the apparatus of states, because like one man said, the definition of a state in international law is your ability to enforce your law within your borders. Once there is a breakdown of law and order in international law and politics, it's a failed state.
Okay. OKPARA in VI, good morning.
Yeah, Uncle Yuri, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to the barrister here.
Yes.
Good morning. Uncle Yuri, you know, when this administration come up, since 4 years ago, this issue of security have been coming up. This is not the first time this topic is coming up. But the question is, what has been done till today? The people know what to do. They don't want to do it. The problem of Nigeria is knowing what to do and you fail to do it. Let us restructure this country. Let there be state police, local police, and community policing. You will see that all these problems will come down. Some people, some sections, some sectors say no restructuring. Nigeria is okay like this. Is that what we're going to be? Why is this coming up today? This is not the first person that has been killing Nigeria. Every day killing has been on.
That's right.
We don't know what will happen tomorrow. But the people refuse to do what is right. Other nations, this is not how other nation was colonized. Ruled. They know what to do, but they don't want to do it.
That's right.
But I pray that God will help us in this country. The lawyer that is running Yellow Lifting have said it. Nigeria needs restructuring. Let us restructure this nation.
Okay. All right.
Nigeria will be okay if restructuring takes place. Restructure the police, the army, the everything. Let the people guide their place by themselves. They know the territory. They know everything about their place. But they say, no, you will carry an Igbo man to Kavanchan, who doesn't know the territory of anywhere, to guide who? Please, let us restructure this nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. OKPARA. So going back to this tragic event, and first of all, we're dealing with that. I mean, as Tinubu said, it is too bad. It is tragic. But in our pain, we also need to be careful. And immediately we're getting reports even on people calling in from home that pronouncements have been made. No doubt social media is going to be full, and investigations will continue. In fact, I was even surprised really that the vehicle in which the event happened was actually shown there on the premises, because one would have thought that would be a police affair. Usually,
no, it doesn't have to be, because the police would have extracted the evidence they need from the vehicle, the shell casing, and of course, so keeping the vehicle in a police station that probably is not even safe. Some people will go there and then vandalize same vehicle. So there's no problem. I mean,
but one cannot from there then make this quantum leap into beginning to speculate as to who was behind
this. The fact is this: I don't want to stay here and start speculating what could have happened. But I can tell you, even what has been happening over there, is that these bandits or armed robbers, or who they are, take time to come to the road once in a while when they feel that it is secured for them to operate, and whoever they see. And when they come out, they're targeting big vehicles because they know the poor Nigerian can't afford to drive in the big SUVs. Okay? So from what you guys reported and we monitored, they came on the road, they met some people who were masked men, came to the road and tried to rob and tried to stop everybody. Instruction was given to the driver to move. While the driver was moving and they wanted to stop the driver, they fired at the vehicle. They probably didn't even know who was in the vehicle, whether it was a driver or a VIP or an ordinary person. But what we are saying here, look, that as tragic as this incident is, it is more tragic if we politicize it. And when we politicize it, what we are then doing is to set Nigerians against themselves. And when that starts, we don't know how it's going to end.
Nobody knows where it's going to end.
So let's allow the law enforcement agents to do their job, fish out the killers, and bring them to justice. I don't care whether they are Fulani people, or they are Yorubas, or they are Igbos. The most important fact is that a crime took place,
Exactly.
and we must look for those who committed the crime and bring them to justice
And not
on
begin-
behalf of the victim
Yes.
and the Nigerian people.
Indeed.
And I think that's a safer ground to stand than to say, oh, we know who did it.
Yes.
And so because of that, our people must rise up and defend themselves.
No. Andy, good morning, and thank you for calling in.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Please, would you please record I don't know what is the criteria to get in touch with you now. I've been trying it over since, but I'm not getting through.
Hello, Andy.
Hello, okay.
Andy, you are through. You are speaking with This Morning on TVC.
Okay, I can see my name on the screen now.
That's right.
Okay.
Go on.
Thank you.
Go on, please.
Yeah, just for what people have been discussing, I'm a good listener of your program.
Okay.
So regarding to what has just happened in Nigeria, concerning the recent incident by whether SME or whatever they called it.
No. I mean, the accident. The killing. The attack. The attack on the vehicle of Mrs. Olakunrin, daughter of Fashoranti.
That is right. Whatever name they call it, those that are the perpetrators, it's not the issue.
Which we don't know
yet.
The
issue is what are the solutions to all this
exactly.
that is emanating from that country.
Yeah.
Day in and day out, we always watch every day tragic issue. This guy is dying west, dying north. But here we live in Europe. If one person die here, we know how the government take it over. That means the life in Nigeria is valueless. So for me, I listen to your program, I see stars hearing all these things. There are people supposed to move the country forward. They are big key.
Yeah.
People supposed to do things that the forthcoming generation will enjoy. They are big key. But the government is not doing anything about it. It's only when it happens to the eminent men, the well-known people in the country, that everybody has to cry about.
Sure.
Even this morning, we see help from other states. Those that have kidnapped, those that have the key. What is going on there? So please, people have to try to do something about it, because this country is our own country. Everybody, we don't have other countries. Although we live in Western world like Europe or that place, but Nigeria is our country.
Okay. And
the leader there, they pay debt share to all these things because they are benefiting from it. That's where we see it here.
Thank you.
I'm a foreigner here. I got all the benefits from UK.
Exactly.
Whatever thing that happened to me here, with one phone call, ambulance will be here, police will be here, everybody will go around me. I was not born here.
All right then. Yeah. Thank you very much for calling in. And just to re-emphasize, the way Andy started out, but I think we set ourselves straight. We have not suggested in any way, shape, or form here that we know who was behind this dastardly attack. He did start off by saying something about Fulani. I said, no, not on this program. This is a news program. We won't go as far as that. We don't even know that we don't know. We'll just leave the authorities to investigate. We just know that it was a brutal, dastardly attack on the vehicle of Mrs. Olakunrin. And there are those who would want to politicize it. But just as the APC national leader had said, we have to be very, very careful and not let this divide us more than the situation is at the moment. So just to re-emphasize that on this program, we have not said anything, we've not mentioned Fulani herdsmen at all in relation to this horrible incident. And that is one of the dangers. If one is not careful, people will just run, because quite frankly, we're ready to run with anything, almost anything, where we're looking for answers, which is perhaps why the authorities now must feel under pressure to quickly bring something bring something out of this. Let it not just be up there so that speculation can continue. We don't know is the problem. You've said it. Whether it is a Fulani, whether it is a Yoruba, whether it is a Doma, it's a criminal event, and we have authorities that are supposed to get in charge of it. But just before you go, I understand that Mr. George has come in on the line. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to the house.
Indeed. Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, first and foremost, are there two Afeni-Ferries? I'm aware that Yinka Odumakin is not the spokesperson for the Afeni-Ferry that I know. But every now and then you hear him making statements and claiming that he's speaking on behalf of Afeni-Ferry. I think the Yorubas should make that clear. Who is their spokesperson? Some of the statements this man makes can set this country on fire. I want to draw your attention to some developments in the society in the past 3-4 days, Uncle Yori.
Okay.
If you read newspapers, you will see a semblance of a smear campaign of calumny against some top Yoruba politicians like Tinubu and the Vice President. And it is aimed at truncating the possibility of a power shift to the South in 2023. You will have heard that some posters were being circulated somewhere in the North, and that they were printed in Dubai. So I want to warn that the Yorubas in particular should be very careful of actions that can divide them, because that seems to be the ultimate aim of some people, to make sure they sow division into them and confusion will ensue to make sure the possibility of a power shift to the South does not happen in 2023. That's just by the way. Criminals must be treated as criminals. When somebody comes and starts telling you it is Yoruba, it is Igbo, it is Fulani, don't we have criminals in all these tribes? Do they not commit crimes even when they are in their own home states? Nobody should be deceived to put ethnic coloration to crime in this country. And this is the time to make sure it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Media organizations like yours, unfortunately, yours is the only one that talks about things like this that people need to hear. Others, just political parties they are working for. So thank you for the job you are doing. That's what I've got to say this morning.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. And it goes back, we can't overemphasize this whole matter about, this whole matter of deciding who is on it. In short, one has to be careful about how one continues to perpetrate and report on these kind of situations.
You know why it's dangerous to toe that part? Because conspiracy theories will take over. In fact, somebody was saying to me yesterday, they should even look at Yinka Odumake's Afenifere group. He said because Fashoronti was the one who led the delegation to the president, Yoruba delegation to the president, and the Yinka Odumake issued a statement blasting the old man. And today he's crying more than they believed. So, and this is why it's dangerous to toe the part of conspiracy theory. And that's why we are calling, please, we know that there's tension in the land. We know that feelings are hot. We are all mourning. But you see, the difference between leaders and followers is that while followers are losing their heads, leaders keep theirs calm and look for solution. So let's allow the law enforcement agents to do their job.
Exactly.
And then they will tell us, the people behind this, and then they can be brought to justice.
Indeed. And as you are saying, when you say former leaders, have already tweeted, shall I say, what is not the most helpful, and people will necessarily listen to them. I think this is where it's very unfortunate that we have this kind of a situation on our hands, because this is how news just takes its own legs. So it's not even news, it's fake news, but it takes legs and begins to walk. And before you know, everybody is quoting it because an important person said it. But at least on this program, we are not saying anything like that. We don't know yet. We're going to leave the authorities to let us know how this happened, what happened, and more importantly, what you're doing about it.
Look, if you are a student of Nigerian history, like I said, there was a time that the entire East was engulfed in kidnapping. It was an industry. It was an industry in the Southeast some few years back. And the governor sat down and adopted a very radical approach that if any kidnapper uses any house to warehouse a kidnapped victim, the structures will be pulled down regardless of the amount of money, the value of the property. They adopted a radical approach.
Yes.
And what happened?
And it worked.
So now it worked.
It worked.
It worked. It worked. Kidnapping ceased completely.
So there must be zero tolerance.
Tolerance for crime.
It's not a matter of Yoruba House or Fulani or whoever.
Nobody is trying to downplay the death of,
of course
our
not.
sister.
Of course not.
You were in this nation, and a sitting attorney general was murdered in his bedroom.
Yes.
until date.
Talking about the late Bola Ige.
Harry Marshall.
Harry Marshall.
Yes.
Murdered.
Momosola.
Alfred Rewena.
And when they were burying Bola Ige, when he was lying in state in Ibadan Stadium, Wole Soyinka said, within the PDP, there's a nest of murderers.
Yes.
That's
I
what he
remember he said that.
Publicly.
Mohammed in Dublin, Ireland. Good morning. Morning, Mohammed.
Good morning, Mr. Iyori.
Thank you very much for calling in. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm happy to be part of this program this morning.
We're delighted to have you.
Yeah, your guest there made my day today. Most especially Mr. Odigba and Barrister Dada.
Yes.
We have to be contributing to a program. Though some of us are proud to be in Nigeria, and we represent Nigeria wherever we are. Mr. Odigba, good morning. I appreciate your comments.
Thank you so much.
But we have to be frantic in whatever we are doing. Like Mr. Odumaki, I was watching a program yesterday. He was saying that one of their very member, the herdsman, I don't know what he said, got his car was shot, and he ran to a police station.
Yes.
And they want to take his statement. The moment the man said herdsman, he said he should go to the next station. Yeah. And they went there. They say herdsman, he said the next station. Oh, that is very, very bad of him, Mr. Odumaki. And what is his name again? Is he Fani Kayode? Every opportunity they have on air is for them to bring about what will bring chaos in that country. If they think they love that country, they don't love that country. From their notions and their perceptions of what they already plan in their mind to happen to that country, Almighty Allah would not allow them. There is not a cause for you to belong to a certain tribe in Nigeria. The only problem Buhari have is on the Fulani man. That is the only his problem. They don't even care to understand that every state in that country is governed by a governor that have an executive power as well. Being a Fulani man does not mean you send your people to go and unleash havoc on people. No, it's not true. Please, Yorubas, you please try as much as possible to advise this man called Udumaki and Ganif Fani Kayode. Their hatred in them is too much.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in,
thank
Mohammed.
you,
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate your call. Okay, enough said. But yes, we can now round up.
Yes, so like I said, all the tribes, if you trace our history, they've been known for one particular, type of crime or the other.
Unfortunately.
I said the Badu. But look at the issue of the Bade killing, the former chief of defense staff. Yeah. There were so many narratives. Yeah. Oh, it is the presidency. Oh, it is this, it is that, and eventually. And when I was looking at them, I said, we like jumping to conclude. I think maybe because there's so much joblessness, so people just want to choose something. But eventually, the death of the man was unraveled, and it was just innocent people who saw a big man in a tundra within the vicinity that went to sell the facts to the bad boys that there seemed to be a big man who has a farm around here, and that probably they got information that he's coming with money or something like that. He was waylaid and he was killed, and that brought it to an end. It's not hard. What I'm trying to say is that we must be very careful.
We must be
Let the security men do their job and tell the nation what is wrong. Exactly. Being divisive and being political will not augur well for this country.
Mr. Yori, I will be the last person to sit here and declare that the Fulanis are saints. They are not saints. The Yorubas are not saints. The Igbos are not saints. The Domas, where I come from, are not saints. We all have our fair share of criminality and bad people.
Just as we have excellence,
everywhere.
Just as we have our share of excellence in
yes.
all of those places that you mentioned.
Now,
yes.
And so this is the problem. When you politicize it,
yes,
we could now
the problem
find
is,
ourselves in murky waters. We've completely run out of time, but could you just please...
Yeah, so what I'm going to say, I think that it is important that we find common grounds and pull together
Exactly.
and move our country forward.
Indeed, thank you very much, which is echoing the sentiments of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the place yesterday. I think all well-meaning Nigerians will be able to toe that line, and let us just wait on the authorities to tell us what exactly happened and who was involved. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Curtis Adigba and Ahmed Dada Abbas, lawyers both, public affairs analysts as well, both of them. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folani. Bye-bye for now.